Good morning, student. Today in this video lesson, I will explain the second part of our chapter, A Gift of Chappals. Mridu kept up to the window. Lily was sitting a little distance away, awkwardly holding her violin and bowstring, her elbows jutting out and her eyes glazed with concentration. In front of her, with most of his back to the window, was the bony figure of the music master. He had a mostly bald head with a fringe of oiled black hair falling around his ears and an old fashioned tuft. A gold chain gleamed around his leathery neck and a diamond ring glittered on his hand as it glided up and down to the stem of the violin. A large foot stuck out from beneath his gold bordered rusty edge, and he was beating time on the floor with the scrawny big toe. Ridu went up to the window. She saw Lally sitting with her violin. In front of her, there was the bony music teacher. Bony means very thin. He had a mostly bald head. He was wearing a gold chain around his neck and a diamond ring on his hand, and it was shining when he was playing violin up and down. A large foot stuck out from beneath his gold border vasti means dhoti, and he was beating his foot when he was playing the violin. He played a few notes. Lally stumbled behind him on her violin. The music teacher played some notes on his violin. Lally also followed him on her violin, which looked quite helpless and unhappy in her hands. But Lally looks helpless and unhappy with her notes. What a difference! The music master's note seemed to float up and settle perfectly into the invisible tracks of the melody. It was like the wheels of a train fitting smoothly into the rails and whizzing along. As Ravi said, Mridu stared at that huge, beringed hand moving effortlessly up the violin stem, making lovely music. Music teacher was playing effortlessly and making a lovely music, as Ravi said. Quack! There was Lally derailing again. Now again it's the sound of Lally's violin. Amma, came a wail from the gate. Amma, oh! Suddenly a sad voice came from the gate. Somebody is calling Amma, Amma. Ravi sent that beggar away, cried his mother from the back veranda, where she was chatting with Tapi. A beggar came at the gate. The mother told Ravi to send him away. She was chatting with Tapi. He has been coming here every day for the past week, and it's time he found another house to beg from. Pati explained to Tapi. Pati told Tapi that the beggar was coming here from last week. The mother told Ravi to send him away. Mridu and Meena followed Ravi out. The beggar was already in the garden, making himself quite at home. He had spread his upper cloth under the neem tree and was leaning against its trunk, apparently prepared to take a little snooze. While he waited for the arms to appear, "Go away," said Ravi sternly. "My Pati says it's time you found another house to beg from." When Ravi went there, the beggar was already in the garden. He had spread a piece of cloth under the neem tree and trying to take some rest and waiting for the alms. But Ravi strictly told him to go away. The beggar opened his eyes very wide and gazed at each of the children one by one. Of this house, he said at last, in a voice choked with feeling, are very kind souls. I have kept my body and soul together on their generosity for a whole week. Now the beggar is saying that the ladies of this house are very kind and I am living because of their kindness. I cannot believe that they would turn me away, and he could not believe that they would turn him away. He raised his voice, Amma, Amma, oh. Now the beggar is calling Amma, Amma. Sad his wail might be. Now his voice is very sad, but it certainly wasn't feeble. But it is not feeble. Feeble means weak. His voice is sad but not weak. It began in a deep, strong rumble somewhere in his withered belly, and his voice is coming from his withered belly and came booming out of his mouth with its few remaining teeth stained brown with beetle chewing, and the beggar has only few teeth which are brown with the beetle chewing. Ravi, tell him there's nothing left in the kitchen called Rukumani and he is not to come again. Tell him that. She sounded fed up. Now Rukumani is fed up with the beggar. He told Ravi to tell him that there was nothing left in the kitchen and he was not to come again. Ravi didn't have to repeat it all to the beggar. What his mother said had been easy for them all to hear. There under the neem tree, the beggar sat up and sighed. Now the beggar sat up and take a long breath. Go, I'll go, he said wearily. Only let me have a rest here under this tree. The sun is so hot, the tar has melted on the road. My feet are already blistered. He stretches out his feet to show large pink peeling blisters on the soles of his bare feet. The beggar told that he would go away after taking some rest. The tar had melted on the road and his bare feet had got blisters. He told children that his feet were already blistered. He stretched out his feet to show large pink peeling blisters on the soles of his bare feet. Blisters are the boils, bubbles on the skin from burns or rubbing. I suppose he doesn't have the money to buy chappals. Mridu whispered to Meena Ravi. Have you got an old pair in the house somewhere? The children, after watching the blisters on the soles of beggar's bare feet, Mridu very slowly said to Meena and Ravi that she thought he didn't have the money to buy chappals and asked them if they had got an old pair in the house anywhere. I don't know, said Ravi. Mine are too small to fit his feet.
or I have given them to him. And his feet were larger than Mridu's and Meena's. When Mridu asked a pair of slippers, Ravi replied that he did not know. Ravi said his slippers were too small to his feet, otherwise, he had given them to him, and his feet were larger than Vidu's and Meena's. The beggar was shaking out his upper cloth and tightening his dhoti. Now it means the beggar was ready to go. He raised his eyes and looked fearfully at the road, as the road was very hot in the afternoon. He needs something on his feet, Meena said, her big eyes filling. It's not fair. Meena was very sad and tears were in her eyes. She said the beggar needed something on his feet. Shh, Ravi, said Ravi. I'm thinking about it. Blubbering, it's not fair, it's not fair. Isn't going to help. In 2 minutes, he'll be frying his feet on that road. What he needs a pair of chappal. In this line, the children got sympathetic towards the beggar, and Ravi said that it was not fair that the beggar went to the road without chappals. So all the children went inside the house in search of chappals. Just as she stepped into the veranda, Mridu's eye fell on the old-looking chappals she had noticed when she arrived. When the children went into the veranda, they saw a very old-looking chappals. After looking those old-looking chappals, Mridu asked Ravi, whose were those slippers? Ravi turned and glanced at the shabby looking but sturdy old slippers. After looking the chappals, Ravi thought those were just the right size for the beggar. So he picked the chappals, and Mridu and Meena followed him nervously back into the garden. Mridu and Meena both were nervous. Here, said Ravi to the beggar, dropping the slippers in front of the old man. Wear these and don't come back. Ravi gave a pair of slippers to the beggar and said, wear those and not to come again. The beggar stared at the slippers, hurriedly flung his towel over his shoulder, pushed his feet into them, and left, muttering a blessing to the children. The beggar hurriedly wore the slippers and gave blessing to the children and went away. In a minute, he had vanished around the corner of the street, and he disappeared in a minute around the corner of the street. The music master came out of the house and took an unappreciative look at the three of them sitting quietly under the tree playing marble. After some time, the music master came out from the house and he looked disapprovingly to children who were playing marbles under a tree. Then he searched for his chappals in the veranda where he had put them. Lally, he called after a few moments. She hurried up to him. Have you seen my chappals, my dear? I remember having kept them here. When the music master did not get his slippers in the veranda, he called Lally and asked about his chappals. Ravi, Mridu and Meena silently watched Lally and the music master search every corner of the veranda. He scurried around, looking over the railing and crouching near the flower pots to look between them. Brand new they were. I went all the way to Mount Road to buy them. He went on saying, they cost a whole month's fees, do you know? And the music master not get his sleepers, he said to the lily that they were brand new and the cost of the chappals were the full month's fee. Soon Lali went in to tell her mother. Rukumani appeared looking harassed with Pati following her. When Lali not get the sleepers of the music teacher, she went in to tell her mother. Rukumani came out with Pati and she was looking harassed. Where could they be? It's really quite upsetting to think someone might have stolen them. So many vendors come to the door, worried Pati. Pati was worried to think who could take those sleepers. Rukumani caught sight of Ravi, Mridu, and Meena sitting under the tree. Have you, children? She began, and then, seeing they were curiously quiet, went on more slowly. Seen anyone lurking around the veranda? When Rukumani saw Ravi, Mridu, and Meena were sitting under the tree, she asked them if they had seen anybody in the veranda. Rukumani was looking angry. A sharp V-shaped line had formed between her eyebrows. Another straight, tighter one appeared in place of her usually soft, pleasant mouth. Rukumani was angry, thought Mridu with a shiver. She wouldn't be so upset if she knew about the poor beggar with sores on his feet. She tried to tell herself. Mridu thought if they would tell the truth about the beggar's blister, she would not be angry. Taking a deep breath, she cried, Rukumani, there was a beggar here. Poor thing, he had such boils on his feet. So, said Rukumani, grimly turning to Ravi, you gave the music master's chappal to that old beggar. She got angry when she learned that the chappals were given away to the beggar. Children these days, groaned Pati. Amma, didn't you tell me about Karna, who gave away everything he had, even his gold earrings? He was so kind and generous. Ravi gave the example of Karna, who gave his precious belongings to other people. Silly, snapped Rukumani. Karna did not give away other people's things. He only gave away his own. Mother rebuked him by saying that he gave only his own things, not others. But my chappals wouldn't have fitted the beggar's feet. Ravi rushed brashly on, and Amma, if they did fit, would you really not have minded? Ravi, said Rukumani, very angry now. Go inside this mint. But Rukumani was very angry and he sent Ravi inside the house. She hurried indoors and brought out Gopu Mama's hardly worn new chappals. These should fit you. Sir, please put these on. I am so sorry. My son has been very naughty. The music master's eyes lit up. He put them on, trying not to look too happy. Well, I suppose these will have to do. She hurriedly went inside and brought Golu Mama's new chappals and gave to the music master. The teacher was happy to get new chappals, but still pretended as though it was tough for him to accept these. These days, children have no respect for elders. What to do? A Hanuman incarnate. Only Rama can save such a naughty fellow.
Rukumani's eyes flashed. She didn't seem to like Ravi being called a monkey, even a holy monkey. She stood stiff and stayed by the front door. It was clear she wanted him to leave quickly. The teacher called Ravi a monkey, an incarnation of Lord Hanuman, which seemed clear that Rukumani didn't like it. She wanted the teacher to leave immediately. When he had clattered off in his new chappals, she said, Mridu, come in and have some tiffin. Honestly, how do you children think of such things? Thank God, your Gopu Mama doesn't wear his chappals to work. As she walked towards the kitchen with Mridu and Meena, she suddenly began to laugh. When the music teacher went away, Rukumani called children inside the house and gave them snacks. She thanked God for Gopu Mama did not wear his chappals that day and began to laugh with Mridu and Meena. But he is always in such a hurry to throw off his shoes and socks and get into his chappals as soon as he comes home. What's your mama going to say this evening when I tell him I gave his chappals to the music teacher? Rukumani also worried to think what would mama say in the evening when she told him that she gave his chappals to the music teacher. This was the second part of A Gift of Chappals. I hope you will understand the chapter. Thank you for watching.